They look at me like I'm crazy. That's why I came to you, Agent King. I saw you at the grocery store. Recognized you from the news. I followed you home because I thought you'd understand. Pardon. You know what it's like to be judged harshly.
Pause. 28 minutes, 59 seconds remaining.
That robot voice is so sad. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Alba. I am your Sensei Alba. You agree on to tell you a story. So, I've been telling you in the last 2 years, since December of 2019, that things were going to get weird, right? And many people have been like, this is like in a collective gestalt of the folk, and it's it's a continuation of a temporal Mobius loop, and we seem to constantly do the same thing over and over and over and over again, just like in Macbeth. After Macbeth has killed everyone, and seemingly has won, he's sitting on the throne, and his buddies, oh, we won, we won, we won, and Macbeth's, pretty morose guy, and his buddy goes, "What's wrong? You know, we should be celebrating. What are you worrying about?" And Macbeth answers, "And tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow." And that's seemingly what's going on, is that we can't break this Mobius loop of desperation and self-loathing and violence, and really is something you can do about it, and that is to, in every day and every way, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. And you know that means that you have to A, wake up, B, realize your life is not about you. It's about all our relations. It's about the we and me. And instead of just having a robotic life, have a real life. So, you know, pretty much my whole life, I've tried not to get stuck, right? I have a number of, you know, skill traits. And one is um, I never work for someone who doesn't need me more than I need them. So they A, pay me relatively well, B, let me do it the way I want to do it, and don't tell me what to do. And that works out pretty good. It's interesting, after all these years of trying not to be stuck, one of the things I realized is that most people have to be within the construct of whatever they do for a good bit of time before they have a certain level of competency. And to do that, to be competent, they actually have to enjoy what they're doing. And because the powers that shouldn't be have basically forced the population to do work that they can't stand, we have been pushed into this little point in time, and it's this next decade, which will be quite interesting because it will be one of those marked decades where we've taken a fork in the road. 9/11, let's say fork in the road. Assassination of Jack Kennedy was a fork in the road. Assassination of Martin Luther King was a fork in the road. Assassination of Bobby Kennedy, fork in the road. Assassination of Marilyn Monroe, fork in the road. Assassination of Dorothy Kilgallen, fork in the road. And there are, you know, lots of other forks in the road, but those are ones that people might have noticed. End of World War II, 1947, the creation of the how would you say it? I mean, the military-industrial complex had already existed in the United States. As you know, Christopher Columbus represented the military-industrial complex of Spain. You know, but the military authorization in 1947 and passing the basically creating, going from the War Department to the Defense Department, right? The the dynamic of backward speak, right? Everything our government says, no child left behind, every child left behind, um, you know, the New Deal, no deal, you know, mission, you know, when we went into Afghanistan, what they called it, enduring freedom, basically we guaranteed, you know, atrocities. So, there are people out there marching and yelling and writing letters, and that's all good, but it's really more a form of masturbation. If you really want to do something, go help your neighbor, right? And don't expect a transactional quid pro, right? And do the things you want to do because it makes you feel good. Your job should make you feel good. And you can't be perfect, but you can be doing the best you can do. And always move forward and do better. Right? Don't be satisfied for the same old, same old. You know? And all around you is beauty. And if you can see the beauty in the most disgusting of things, then you're moving in the right direction. Right? I mean, that may have came out wrong, you know. Holocaust is never beautiful, but amongst the Holocaust, there are beautiful things. A beautiful day. I mean, look at 9/11. It was a beautiful day that day. It was almost picture perfect, right? So, what we are going to see, I mean, this little disruption of the product chain. That's done on. I mean, the boats are like out there. The last time I saw that many boats out in the sea, waiting to disembark was during the oil embargo of 1972. And the guy who owned Restaurants Associates, he owned Windows on the World, and he had his office up there. And I used to work for them, and occasionally I would come in on Fridays and share a cigar and a nice cognac and maybe a meal, looking out the window. When I went into his office, and he said, "Here, I have a," and he had these navy binoculars that could see miles, right? And he had it on a tripod, and it was all locked down. He goes, "Don't touch anything, just look through those. What do you see?" And the sun was going down, and the sun was going down in the west, and there were all these boats in the eastern part of the Atlantic, right around the Hudson entrance, and also to go over to where the refineries are in New Jersey. And there were more super tankers out there with oil than I could count, right? And he was saying that the oil embargo was a hoax, and that it was there were other things going on um, that caused this to happen. And it was like the beginning of what we're in now. And in reality, the beginning was back in 1947, and in reality, the beginning was back in 1891 when they had the first Paris Accord on global warming, because they knew about it back in 1891. Actually, they knew back, Newton wrote about it in his more esoteric writings, right? So nothing is as it should be, right? And don't believe anything. To have a belief is to be addicted to stupidity. Now, you can have faith. I have faith in love's co creation because I've seen it over and over and over and over again do the most amazing things. If you go read a book called The Course in Miracles, it'll give you a nice heads up on that. And if you were to get Bloom's book on the healing runes, the Celtic runes, that's a good book. And divination is just the ability to observe trends within a timeline. That's all it is. It's not magic. It's not mysticism. It's not even, oh, you're a psychic. No, I read people, right? I did that for a good 20 years, right? And I've done it longer than that, but I mean, I got paid to do it and paid pretty well, and by many different groups. And it's like dowsing, right? I basically douse people and temporal timelines, right? You can see these things; they're like plain as day. And if you just do a little homework like 9/11, you should go read Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. When the Dick Cheney, um, you know, Bushy boy presidency, they were forced to have the congressional investigation. They weren't going to have one, but the people were screaming so loud that they had to do it. So they have national laboratories and all kinds of amazing resources. And who did they go to for their engineering and scientific resources on the 9/11 thing? They went to popular mechanics. Really? You know? And no one seemed to know. And this thing with the Pandora Papers, that's got to be one of the most, you know, earth shattering things because it shows beyond a shadow of doubt our leadership is super corrupt. With leadership in all avenues, in entertainment, in banking, in politics, you name it. And it, was on the TV screens for like 2 nights, and then everyone's forgot about it. And the papers that, WikiLeaks is dumped on what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, and no one even went to jail. Oh, and Iran Contra, no one ever, it's like everyone's asleep. So that's why I do this channel. Now, there are a lot of great people out there doing a lot of great work. Truly Grace does a great job. And there are hundreds of others. There's also a thing called dark journalism. Now, if you go watch these things, now Grace is really good because she does her homework. She produces these videos flawlessly. Me, I just kind of tell you a story, and this is a stream of consciousness here, right? And don't believe a word I say, but Grace, she documents everything. I mean, you can take everything she says to ground, I just kind of sprinkle my fairy dust into your subconscious mind so you might think about this. You're having a hard time waking up. That's what I'm here to do. Kind of wake you up a little bit. Uh, and we're all asleep. You know, I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. But I constantly pray, conscious intent I am, conscious intent I am. I put my intent, like today. I did a bunch of things for my friend who, it's not really, I can do anything electric, right? And certain things are a little more complicated within that Bailey week than other things, like cars. I have no idea about cars. Me, if there isn't a neutral and a hot lead and a ground, to my mind, it doesn't work. But cars don't even have that. All they do is have the ground. They have the hot wire and no white wires. Everything goes to ground in a car. And so, and that's why, they have rubber tires that insulate the road. And I can kind of figure it out because I can dowse it out. Like I had an electrical problem in my car, and they just kept putting, oh, it needs a new alternate, oh, it needs a new battery, oh, and no, it didn't need any of those. It was a problem in the ground. I couldn't tell them where it was, but I said, go look for that. And after the third electric problem came up, they finally said, let's look for the ground. And I have to say that those guys were relatively righteous because they spent a number of hours looking for the problem and they found it and they fixed it. Now everything works. And they didn't charge me anything because they already charged me like $600, which I didn't even have. And if you want to help me with that, go to PayPal and put something in there in my email address when they ask it. Is the dude awake 42 at Gmail. And so life is like that, all the above. And so this supply chain disruption, there is something way deeper, right? Just like, now COVID is definitely a thing, but where it came from, what was its reason for being, that has not been stated, at least not in the major media. Now, there are a ton of yahoos out there with their conspiracy theories, and I say, good on you, boys, go for it, and girls, and if you could do it half as good as Truly Graceful does it, then you'd probably get to the bottom of it. But you believe in your ridiculous stories. I don't believe in anything. And whenever I come up with, something that I need to figure out, I take it to ground, to chi. And I have that flowing circuit, from prana, from up above, the great maker, and the prana flows to me, and I connect with Mother Earth. And so I'm well grounded. And these are all things I've learned from my many different teachers. And, the old crone was a person who taught me a great deal about patience, generosity, unconditional forgiveness, and humility. Those are the things I constantly work on because I'm a moron and I can lose my way. But every day and every way, I take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. And how do I do that? But through patience, hospitality, and gratefulness, the grace of humility, and unconditional forgiveness. Right? So, all over the years, I've been involved with many different, helping people and other entities and all kinds of things. And I always do it as an artist. Everything I do is artistic, creative. you know, loves co-creation, and I'm a work in progress, and I try to be, and I do my best. I'm not perfect, but I do my best. So there were a number of little projects I did around the house today, fixing for my friend, and they were like outside my purvey, right? Like one was, she had this guy put in a wooden floor, and he covered up all of the vents for the heat, right? And so it was because of that, it was turning the furnace hotter than it should be, and so it kept shutting itself off. And so yesterday I figured out the controls of the furnace and realized that it was overheating. And so I said, so did some of these registers get covered up? And so yeah, I had some, flooring put down. And I said, do you know where the registers were? And she said, well, kind of over here, like, in, in, let's say, the kitchen, right? Well, she pointed at a third of the kitchen, like not like right there, but a third. So I had to douse it. And there was two other places where they were covered up and you couldn't find it. And it was a hard surface. So I had to douse it. And I had to have faith in my ability to douse where those things were, because even knocking on it, there was no sense of, oh, this is hard and oh, this is hollow. No, it sounded the same way, right? And so I even turned the heat on, and it gave me a little more instead of like 100 square feet, it brought it down to like maybe 50 square feet. So I had to douse it. I found the three different places and cut the wood, and bingo, there they were. That was pretty amazing. And yes, it wasn't right on, because I don't have X-ray vision, but I have faith in my ability to co-create. So put it in there, put the grates over it, and it pretty much hid the general. I didn't get it perfect, but I did my best, and it was better than anyone else was going to do. That's for sure. And a few other things I did around the house were like that. I mean, outside my basic purvey that I'm very confident in, but I still did it. And I did it with a conscious intent of doing my best. And now I'm watching the political structure. They're not doing their best. They're doing what their greedy ego wants. They are taking the money. They're taking. Just look at Nancy. Uh, what's her name? Pelosi, Colostomy, you know, Nancy Colostomy bag, you know. You just look at her. Just listen to what she says. And who's that other guy? Fucci? Fucci? I mean, these people, he's, like Rudy Giuliani, he lied on Fox TV 5 times within like a minute. And it blew the poor Fox guy's mind because, he asked a question and then, basically Giuliani, um, I mean, he asked a question about something that was well documented within the government structure, and Giuliani went, "No, that's not true. It's blah blah blah." And then the Fox guy said, "You mean it's blah? You're saying that it's blah blah blah?" And then Giuliani said, "No, I didn't say that. I said it's blee blee blee." And the guy goes, "Wait a minute, but you said it was blah blah blah, and we have it on videotape." And so he, in like a minute time, uh, Rudy lies 5 times, and the poor Fox guy is like apoplectic, right? And Rudy at the end said something really amazing. Because it doesn't matter what videotape you have, because this is all fake news. It's a lie. And Rudy was straight up, going on about what it really is, right? Fake news, and it's a lie. And a number of years ago, back when I worked for the corporate world and being a consultant, I basically would go to these places to work for a week or so, and I would have them put me up in, forget 4-star, I wanted a 10-star hotel with a jacuzzi in the room, and uh, that it was okay to bring my dogs, and they not only had a manicure and a massage therapist for me, but they had one for my dogs. That was the life I led for a good 10 years. And that's how I gained 200 pounds. I ate meals like you couldn't believe. Oh, and that's why my body is kind of messed up. But I'm still alive, and I'm still here to serve love co-creation. Yes, things are a little sore, but, you know, I'm not going anywhere. So today, I was out at the farm, and I'm fixing all this stuff and playing with the animals. It was really fun. I had they have you met my buddy, my puppy, my canine, the other day on the video, Mr. S, and he's a cute little um, bulldog. He's got everything in him. He's just totally, and he's only 6 months, but. I can't. They were going to throw him in the garbage pail, and I put him in my pocket and took care of him for the first 4 weeks of his life, and fed him every day until he was like healthy and doing good. And then I went away, and when I came back, he's 6 months old, and he's like being a puppy, chewing up everyone's shoes, and there are people getting frustrated with him. And I came back, and he came. I drove in. They weren't there; they were out doing stuff, and I drove in, and he was like chained up, and he was like, "He's back," and I went over and unhooked him, and he just licked me, and got up in my lap, and he's no longer, like a 1 pound dog. He's like a 50-pound dog. But he made sure he didn't, squish my nuts or hurt me in any way. But he was just so happy, and so we played ball, for a good hour or two. I brought my lacrosse stick and some tennis balls, and he just had the best of time. And by the end of the time, we learned, stuff. He learned to bring the ball to me and drop it into the lacrosse stick so my hand would get all icky. And using a lacrosse stick to throw the ball is my arms, I can barely get my arms, after 50 years of putting in 2x4s in the ceiling. Those are light fixtures that are 2 feet wide and 4 feet long and go into hung ceilings. Um, that's why my arms don't go above this. I mean, I can get them up there, but not quick. And I'm not throwing anything. But with a lacrosse stick, I can get the ball up there in the field. And so we had a great time. And so the last few days, I've had him by my side in the house, and he's trying his best to do real good. So he didn't, make a mess in the house. He didn't, I went and bought him doggy chewy treats so he didn't have to chew up the shoes. And I basically, closed all the bedroom doors, all the rooms that had doors that he would get into and get into trouble. I made them off limits, right? So when I was working, he just, came in, sat down, watched me work, then went to sleep. And that's what a dog should do, right? And then as soon as I moved, he would be up and ready to go where we were going to go. And that's how life works. It everyone tries to do things that it doesn't work, and they continue to do it over and over and over again. So if you take your life, your daily life, and you don't worry about, oh, I'm gonna, how am I gonna pay my bills? Oh, I want this. You have your whiny laundry list, like my car. It's needs lots of fixing up. I've been asking you guys, hey, throw something into PayPal into the doodlewake42 at Gmail, right? So, I took it to um, the car fixer guy, and he said, "Oh, this is going to be like $2,000." Right? And he said, "Oh, it's really you need all four new tires." He showed me the metal shining through my tires, and he said, "Oh, you need this and you need that, and the front end, blah 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 blah." Right, $2,000. I had all of like $180 in the bank. So I said, "How much does the oil change?" Oh, that's $35. Okay, just change the oil. I'm gonna go have lunch. I'm gonna meet a friend, and we're gonna have lunch. Anyway, I'm there, talk to my friend, and then the mechanic guy calls me up and says, "I'm gonna fix everything." I said, "But I only have $35." No, no. Someone has called me up and said that they paid the bill. And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." And they put it in. We have a PayPal account, and they put it in there, and so I'm going to fix everything. I said, "What? Who is that person?" He goes, "I have no idea. The money's in the account. It's in your name, specifically to fix your car. I have no idea who did that, but it happened. I didn't expect it. I was just ready just to change the oil, but the universe wants my car to be safe so I don't die in a car crash. So that's how life. That's the life of abundance. You know. So that was the other day, and so that was pretty cool. I didn't expect it, didn't think about it. But I'm helping my friend deal with problems in their life and fixing all the things in their farm that would make life tough. And I'm going to stay here for a month because that'll be nice because it's warm. I fixed the heating system so it now heats the house. It was getting a little nippy. It wouldn't work, and so and she didn't have the cash to fix any of this stuff. But she's going to go to the south and hang with her kids and her grandchildren. And I'm going to watch the farm. And so today, uh, me and the dog, we went and you know I mucked out the stalls and I fed the animals, and it was great. Because I know all these animals. The two male cows that she rents out to stud, and the horses. There's two old horses. I've known them for years, and there's sheep I've known for years, and the cats. Oh, so so today was very nice. I worked on putting those cutting the floor and putting the grates in, and doing a few other little fix it things. I cleaned out all her closets. She just kind of stuffed all her when her husband died. She just stuffed everything in the closets, and I went through everything. And there were a bunch of boxes, so I organized everything in the boxes. So instead of the three big closets, uh, you couldn't even get in. I pulled everything out and organized everything, and you know, so she can and labeled the boxes. And I had some clear leaf bags that I put all his clothes in, so you could see the clothes. And there were a couple of things in there that were nice that actually fitted me, so I knew he would like it if I wore it. So I took them, and so I did a couple of loads of laundry, and because I don't have you know washer dryer. I mean, I do, but it's a little more problematic than having it right in your basement or your closet in your bedroom or something. Anyway, so and I'm grateful that I do have the these things were broken on the side of the road, and I brought them back to my place and fixed them so they could kind of work, right? So, um, and they're out in the middle of the forest. So garden hose going to the washer and a big heavy cable going, to the dryer. And anyway, so that's all I'm telling you guys is that if you think past your own selfish self and realize that your life isn't about you, but it is about um, the we and me, that we're here to serve love's co creation of one love of all our relations, to move forward, to ascend our spirit into our spirit. So that's what it's kind of. So the label of this show is, people say that I dodged a bullet, but I think I just put the gun in my mouth. And that's kind of what humanity has been doing for the last billion years because we aren't anything except an avatar. This beautiful paradise that we are, quickly destroying. And it's not, listen, about 1 million years ago, an asteroid plowed into this planet and destroyed everything. I mean, just burned it to a cinder. And in less than 1 million years, um, everything's hunky dory, right? And so if we do this again, all it'll do is wipe us out, and another species will take our place, right? So it's it is what it is, and if you think you are your body, then you're going to get stuck in that illusion. But if you realize that your body is just simply an avatar for you to navigate through the sandbox of this seeming reality, but because it isn't based on love's co creation, it's an illusion. And it's really obvious because see those shadows? You know, in in the world of unconditional love and abundance, the light is not incandescent. It is photonic, and there are no shadows, and there is no lying, and there is everyone knows what the other person is and is saying and is thinking. Um, it is called soul speak when you are communicating through, instead of just loga, you are using logos, right? And truth. And so I don't know what else to say. Last night we had a nice little chat. Um, it's 38 minutes and there's nobody there. There's one thanks for the whatever thumbs up. So last night there were 78 people who watched, right? And I was on for almost 3 hours. And the combined time of all those people and that they watched for an extended period of time was 16 hours. But when I went back and looked at the numbers once it got posted, it said 4 people watched. Now there were like 12 thumbs up and 0 thumbs down. But when I looked at it today, there were 8 thumbs down and 2 thumbs up, and only 4 people watched it. I mean, it's like, uh, thank you, the powers of the internet for. I mean, at least they're not, cutting me out because they want me to be here because I represent a certain cadre, right? And I loved last night because we had a great discussion. There were, and it wasn't just, oh boy, that's a cool shirt, man. Everyone made very heartfelt, um, insightful observations and comments. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. And I would enjoy if you guys would, down there after the show is over, you go back and watch it a day or two later, which a lot of people do. Leave some comments. It'd be nice to have a little comment or two, right? And a few more thumbs up, and maybe a few more people to, join, subscribe, become part of the cadre. Anyway. Boy, oh boy. Let's see what time it is. Ooh, it's 12:21. I love it when it's a synchronistic moment like that. So let's say a little prayer. Father Sky, Mother Earth, Holy Spirit, hear our prayer. Bless us indeed. Enlarge our territory. Put your hands upon our shoulders and keep us from evil, so we will do no harm. Conscious intent I am, conscious intent I am, conscious intent I am. Om. Conscious awareness I am, conscious awareness I am, conscious awareness I am. Om. So, tomorrow's Friday. I will do another show. I'll try and do one in the morning. I will try and do one in the evening and give it a little more thought, right? But, don't put the gun in your mouth. Don't eat the gun. No, don't eat the gun, right? And the problem is that the majority of the population is eating the gun, either through addiction to food, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, sex, whatever. That's eating the gun, being totally oblivious to your neighbor, even totally oblivious to the ones who you say you love, your family. I watch people totally oblivious of that, of their families and the ones they love. Remember, the world is not about you. We live in the we and me. So, all I can say is I love you, and I wish you well, and I'll see you in the morning, and I'll see you tomorrow evening. So, you guys, be good.